On today's video, I will be showing you how to change your brake rotors. I've already switched out the front ones, so unfortunately, I'll only be showing you how to change the rear ones. But the same application that you use to change the rear ones would be the same thing that you do to change the front ones. Alright guys, for this application, I'm going to use a 19mm socket, a breaker bar, some jack stands to keep our cars elevated, and an actual jack. Whenever you're changing your rims, right, for whatever reason, whether it's to change your brake rotors or just your pads, make sure you loosen up the individual bolts, not completely, but just enough so when you lift your car up, it makes it easier to take off the tire. When you have your car elevated enough to where you can fit your jack under, make sure you find a space where you're able to rest it on metal or the frame instead of the plastic. If not, when you release the jack stand, you're gonna crush some of your plastics underneath. So just make sure as a precaution measure that you're able to fill metal where you're placing your jack. Alright guys, once you have your car lifted to your desired height where you're able to actually put your jack underneath the car, you're supposed to take off your tire. We're going to use a ratchet to make the job quicker. So most Hondas are notorious for having a safety feature, which they have screws on the rotor cap. As to the way you would go about taking this off, these screws, is with an impact driver and a hammer, like so. For this application, which is an Acura RSX Type S, you're going to need a size 3/18 ratchet and a size 12 socket. So you take your socket and you attach it to your ratchet and you put it on your pin bolt and you proceed to loosen it. Since this caliper is giving me trouble, I'm going to use a breaker bar and a hammer to take off the caliper. Alright guys, the parking brake is attached, a piston is attached to the brake caliper, so we're going to have to push that back. So we're going to use a retractor tool to do this. So you simply take it and you align it up. In this clip, I'm pointing to the caliper bracket bolts that will need to be removed. In this clip, my friend is removing dirt and grime that gets into the slider pin boots. And once all the grime is removed, he then added brake grease to the slider pins and assembled the boot and pins back onto the caliper. This allows the caliper to compress both the inner and outer pad evenly when applying the brakes. If the boots have grime, it often leads to uneven pad wear, since one pad will always be rubbing. Alright guys, now you're going to take your rear brake rotor and you're going to place it back on. Make sure to align it. Now you're going to take the 2 screws, which are over here, right? And then put them back in. Alright guys, now we're going to put back the caliper bracket. This is how you put on the brake pads. This will be on the back one, like so, and then this will be placed on the front one, like so. And you want to make sure it's flush. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to use a ratchet with a socket to tighten on both bolts. So we're going to use a 17mm wrench to hold down the back bolt. So as we tighten it, the bolt won't move. The back bolt won't move. Okay guys, you want to make sure it's tight. Okay, once you guys have the tire back on, take your bolts and screw them in, but make sure you don't tighten them down completely. Alright guys, as you're doing your final pass through, make sure that your lug nuts are tight enough on your rim to the point where your rim doesn't move at just hand tension. So that way when you lower your car, you don't have to worry about it, not being situated properly. Alright guys, so after you remove your car jack stand, you then lower your car. And then from there, once you're done, you then do your final touches on your rim for tightening it to make sure your rim's secure. Now we're gonna tighten this rim back up. So we're using a breaker bar to do so because we don't have a torque wrench. But if by chance you're able to get your hands on a torque wrench, make sure you use it so that way you can tighten your rims back to actual spec. Make sure also when you're going about tightening your rims to do it in a star pattern. So that way the tension is evenly dispersed amongst your rim. At the end, you want to do a circle pattern just to go over and make sure everything is fine. So after you do the star pattern and things seem a little bit snug to you, go over once more in a circle pattern. Alright guys, for the final step, make sure you pump your brakes a few times, ensuring that the brake fluid has gone back to your brake piston and that everything's in function in order. So when you drive, you're safe. Take care. Thank you for watching.